All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about the reason why your scapula is so important to take care of and so important to exercise, okay? It's so important because it's involved in lots of different movements, all right? So here's just a few movements, 4 different movements. There is shoulder retraction, it's where you pull your shoulder blades back into retraction, boom, that's shoulder retraction, okay? We have elevation, which is shrugging your shoulders, right? I don't know. That's elevation. Then we have depression, where you're pushing them down, okay? And then we have protraction. Usually when in a pushing movement, you go into protraction, where you push those shoulder blades out, like that, okay? So retraction, protraction, depression, elevation. And then there's combinations of all of those, okay? When you have the structural integrity of the scapula by doing, I'm going to show you an exercise here in a second, but when that integrity is very strong, you have better functioning shoulder for throwing, okay, for pressing, okay, and for pushing, all of your different pressing movements, as well as pulling movements, all right? So we want a strong, capable shoulder, because if you're out there and you have an injured shoulder, it sucks. It's really hard. I've injured my pec minor before from a ton of bench pressing. I've cut down the amount of bench pressing, have done more dumbbell work so then I can control that just a little bit more instead of pressing in. I've also changed the way I do push-ups, which you've probably seen on some of my other videos. I go into more of a perfect push-up position so that my elbows are pointing back instead of out. That's also saving my pec minor. But I also do mobility work where I take a tennis ball and I actually roll this out, okay? So then that way I can lengthen the relationship between how tight those tendons are in there attached to my pec minor. So then that way I can still do my pushing exercises and pushing movements to develop my strength for pushing and my chest, which I love doing, but be able to feel pain-free when I wake up the next morning, okay? So here is one of my favorite exercises to do, okay? A lot of people call these back flies. You can do this with a TRX band, which I'm going to show you right here. You can also do this with cables. You can do this with single arm cables. You can also do this with a band, okay? And I'm going to show you 2 different ways, a TRX and with a band. So a couple things to keep in mind. When we pull through, the more you can rotate those palms upward, okay, the safer it's going to be and the better it's going to be for the shoulder blades, okay? All right, so pay attention to that. In the TRX band, it's a little hard to actually get into that full external rotation. This is external rotation. It's a little hard to get into that. So I'll show you a little bit more clear how that looks on a band, right? So here is TRX version of it. I'm going to get really close to this camera here. So we're like this, and then I'm going to go into my back fly, keeping tension on this, and I'm going to try and rotate those palms upward as much as possible. So I'm a little bit lower here. And pull, down, and pull, squeezing the scapula, and pull, squeezing the scapula, okay? I would end up doing several sets of these with several reps, okay? This isn't a power movement. It's not something where I'm trying to develop a whole bunch of strength and power. Instead, I'm strengthening the integrity of all of those muscles involved with the scapular retraction, okay? Strength there, all right? Here's what it looks like with a band. So I'll take a mobility band, and I'll stand like this so you can see. So I'm gonna put my hands or my palms upward, okay? Put the band in like this, and pull out, up and out, up and out. Okay? That there is one of my favorite exercises for strengthening the integrity of the scapula. So in that way I have a better functioning shoulder for throwing, for pressing, which I love pressing, and for using heavier barbell work, which I love to do as well. I encourage you to try this out. You do 3 to 5 sets of each one. Do about 10 to 15 reps. You want to go a little higher on the reps because, again, it's not a power movement We're trying to strengthen that muscle and really work it into function, okay? So repetition will help breed function, all right? So I encourage you to do that. That's the movement of the day. Be strong, move free, live vibrant, and have purpose. We'll see you later.